morning. Welcome back, everyone. This is a follow-up on the Bitcoin and Ethereum video that I put out a couple weeks ago, saying that, hey, we are probably gonna take a move to the downside and that around 100K would be probably a lot of resistance. We basically got that move that we were looking for onto the downside, and if you could look real quickly at the low, which is around 74,600, we basically did not take the liquidity out of that last little low over here, which is, let me just zoom that up. Let's do one of these right there. Oops, a lot of my drawings. So basically, we basically are just at a equal low over here around 174.53. You saw the nice wick buy up, okay? But what we did was we actually paused the high yesterday around 79,300. After daily close, we are basically consolidating sideways. Now, what I want to point out for the people who have yet to buy the dip, if you're looking for lower, yes, lower is possible. But if the daily closes today above 77,500, I will be looking for the next day to open and then continue back up into the level of resistance, maybe around 80,000, 81,000, around there. And we could see if we find some resistance, okay? For sure, on a daily, I am not expecting Bitcoin to get above 85,000 and higher, not within the next day or two. If it happens, then okay, we are looking for higher. But any move into 85, 86,000, I'll be looking for a resistance and rejection and consolidation. Basically, up, down between 75 and 85,000, that $10 range. We're trying to consolidate and then find a low for upside continuation. So just wanted to point that out real quick. If you go to the weekly time frame, you see that we had this massive sell-off to the downside. This week we are going to see, is this the low? If not, we can go lower. If we go lower, I am probably looking for us to test into, let's say, 70,000, 69,000, and from there we can see if we're going to hold that for support and go higher or not. So far, a lot of liquidity has been taken, okay? So a lot of the over leveraged longs have gotten pushed out, but I usually like 3 legs down. Here's 1 leg, 2 legs, 3 legs, okay? So very, very close to the local low, if buyers step in and defend. Now, even Michael Saylor bought, okay, but he didn't buy as much as he'd been buying. He bought a little chunk. Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy's average was tapped, okay? So if we go lower than here, like I forgot how many billion, I think it's like 50 some billion in Bitcoin will be in the red, all right? His stockholders, people who are long-term investors, everyone will be a little concerned if MicroStrategy is going to be red on their average of their acquisition of all the Bitcoin. That will be actually increasing sell pressure. So Michael Saylor and all the long-term OGs are probably praying that this is the low. Institutional buyers like the banks, okay, ETFs and all them, they're probably looking for us to come into this lower level around 60,000. Okay, I said low 70 to around 60 is what we are going to be looking to see for the rest of this month. Okay, so for the rest of February, are we going to go down there or are we going to go sideways here and then close the month in this sideways range where this EMA will actually creep up into that $70,000 level, and we could hopefully not even come to these levels if we get a push up into the weekly close. These averages will move every weekly close, which is Sunday at 8. So right now, all the EMAs are posturing. Sellers are in charge, and when the sellers get exhausted, you right now, the sellers have control of the volume as well. This week, even if we close like this, it's gonna be a whole waiting game for the next week to see if next week are we going to test the liquidity above and hold, or are we going to test the liquidity above and then shoot down? Because a lot of people are trying to get in on it here, and if you're over leveraged, you're at risk for a little poke of the liquidity. If you're not over leveraged, the safest way to go about this, in my opinion, would be the dollar cost average in this $10,000 range. Now, will this low come? It's not guaranteed, okay? This EMA is a lagging indicator. It doesn't have to come and tap, but the likelihood is high. And the only time I would even consider this level is if we start losing 70,000. Once you lose 70,000, that psychological 60,000 is going to be in the cards, but don't bank all your money on that. Since this is a bullish asset, it shouldn't need for us to go retest this level in this expanding wedge. If you put on a trend line, you will see that the trend line is meeting perfectly along this angle and along the top angle in an expanding wedge fashion. If it's an expanding wedge and this is the bottom of the expanding wedge, eventually you're going to put like an inverse head and shoulder over here and then a breakout and make new highs. So that's what I'm looking for, kind of like right here. This exact same breakdown test of the lows and then upside continuation to take out the liquidity of the top. Looking for something very, very similar like that here. But if we have the EMA cross, right, and now you got this deeper dive, we have the EMA cross. We have to keep in mind that that deeper dive is very, very possible into these lower levels. And if those lower levels come, the upside will be coming in a slower fashion because people will be psychologically and emotionally wrecked. It will take time for the accumulation phase to reintroduce itself and come to a complete before another markup phase comes. So if we do come into this level, be prepared for like, you know, a couple months of sideways in this range before upside continuation. Okay. So the shorts and the sellers are still in control. This could have been leg one. This could have been leg two. We're doing a little dead cat bounce, and then we could get leg three. The count that I had over here, it could be off. Like I'm looking for this as this is wave one. Here's wave two. Here's wave three. Here's wave four. Here's wave five, which is supposed to be the highest amplitude wave. Okay, if that occurs, this is why we'll be looking for wave 5, 6, and 7 will consolidate like ABC sideways and then back to the 7 wave Elliott like markup phase. So that's if this is wave 3 and if this is going to be wave 5. If this is wave 5, then I will just tell you right now that this buying will get washed out to the downside. Okay, and another thing to consider like fundamentally, the government is supposed to open up today. If the government opens up, maybe we'll get some risk on buying. All right, great. The another negative thing that I would say is in the stock market, right? The whole world right now is heavy on Nvidia. If you take a quick look at Nvidia, and I pointed this out yesterday, I am looking for Nvidia to go to like 163 to 170. And if Nvidia does push that to the downside after this huge rejection, and we're looking like we're setting up a head and shoulder. Do I have doodles here? Yeah. So we're looking like we're putting up a head and shoulder. If the head and shoulder plays out and Nvidia gets to 160, then you got to understand that the whole stock market, like AI stocks, tech stocks, everything is going to feel the pain because everyone is over leveraged into Nvidia. All right. If this downside comes on the US stock market, crypto is not going to survive. Okay. Crypto is going to probably take that next leg down, and then people will be looking to get liquidity as quickly as possible. Well, crypto is the fastest to get liquidity out of if they need to put margin back into their equities. All right. So, what I just showed you is Nvidia. If you look at Tesla, same thing. Okay, and an example of something that didn't do this is T-Mobile. So T-Mobile, I was saying buy at 185. If you look at T-Mobile, right around 180, it put in its bottom. 185 was right here, this doji. If you would have bought it, you would have had this nice impulse candle. But look, EMA is crossing down. You're already finding a little bit of rejection after you took out the liquidity. So if T-Mobile can actually get above the 200, we can consider this downside finished and over. If Nvidia goes to the downside, then T-Mobile is probably just going a few steps ahead and showing you that, hey, downside is possible. Okay, let's go back now to equities. Okay, I showed you Bitcoin. Let's go to Ethereum. Here is Ethereum already put in those lows. Ethereum is probably setting up for a buying opportunity, just like it did around 7 800. Was it over here? Yes, 7 8. Whoa. Well, let's say it was 1200, the second leg, and it went to 3000, I believe, around here. Yeah. So, same kind of structure consolidation is occurring on Ethereum. After that massive sell down, you have this weekly candle already dojing. If we close like this, next week we can open and look for a recovery. As of right now, it's still pretty strong to the downside. Even though you get this nice big buy up yesterday, you're already bearish engulfing, meaning continuation to the downside is possible throughout this week if any negativity comes out. This week they're delaying the jobless report on Friday due to the fact of the government not being open for the funding on Monday. So that's more data that we're gonna have to wait for next week. So that, as well as the government not cutting interest rates, so there's no real inflation risk. Gold and silver selling off, new Federal Reserve being picked, and then that new Fed more than likely will continue cutting, and he's I don't think they're going to just slow down on the cutting. I think they're going to keep it at a steady rate, meaning they're going to cut rates and continue to print money. And that is basically going to be not good for, like, is basically going to devalue your equities. Here's gold, had that 10% drop after I made the Solana video like a week ago saying, hey, gold and silver will probably have a blow off top. Gold had a 10% drop, silver had a 30% drop. You're doing this buy up again after this doji, but until silver gets above $91, I'm still looking for downside continuation. Until gold, well, gold is already above 48, so that's good. If today it closes above 48.20, we can expect gold maybe to go test back into the rejection of like 5,100. If it closes underneath 48.20, we'll look for gold to go retest into 4,500. Okay, silver, we'll look for it to go retest, or sorry, yes, silver, we'll look for it to retest around $77. Okay, I was saying to buy this at around 79. If you bought it at 79, you could have sold it right now and took your profit, and it all happened on the same day as the dump. Okay, so those are done and over. Ethereum is what I was pointing out real quickly on the daily. And you can see that the bearish engulf happened. So what I'm trying to point out about Ethereum, right? If you guys are not already in Bitcoin or Ethereum or any other crypto, that whatever crypto you want, it really doesn't matter to me anymore. Uh, I am confident crypto will be here long term, but whatever crypto's true purpose was, the stock market and the finance industry has already adopted. Okay, so the only thing left about crypto is that Bitcoin, the original, still has that limited supply. Every other cryptos are inflationary. Even Ethereum. Ethereum is inflationary. Even though it has a set supply, it still makes more than 100 million. And that Solana giving 8% interest, Ethereum giving you an interest. Those coins, as much as I love them, are not gonna have the fundamental strength like Bitcoin does when anything really occurs in the markets. So just be aware that Bitcoin around 78,000 when we were around 120, was it? 120, it's almost a 50% drop, right? You basically got a 50% drop on Bitcoin from the high all the way to the low. around 40%. Okay, so if you were ever gonna buy, wouldn't you want to start some kind of buying now? You know, from the low, from the actual low that we got. Oh, sorry, that's my kitty. If you were patient, you are still only 5% off of the bottom. So if you start DCAing here and you actually do go lower, you have the opportunity to get your averages into a better level. So be aware that, you know, yeah, you could buy around 75, but you have the opportunity to get more at 60. So the safest thing would be the dollar cost average, because you don't know if we're going to go to this level or go up. Nothing is certain, but the likelihood of us putting in a rounding bottom over here is extremely high. And if that does occur, if you DCA dollar cost average into your long-term position, you will probably have a better return than going all in here and then just waiting to see what happens kind of situation. Buying your whole position in one chunk is not advisable unless you are a trader and you have like proper levels. So if you look at my Bitcoin chart, okay, I was showing people during the tokenized event that I'm looking for Bitcoin at around 75, right? 75, 76. Now you can see all the crazy doodles on my chart. Just ignore all that. But this is what I was looking for, this level right here. And that's basically what we hit, right? Let's get rid of this. And I was looking at it in this descending channel. I'm still going to remove this. If a daily close under 103, I'm waiting for long entry 10% at 195, entry number 2 25% at 85, and entry 3 at 76%. 76,000, stop loss at 75. If daily closes above 103, take profit targets TP1. So this thing I had a very, very, very long time. It said stop loss over here at 75K, right? We actually went into the fib over here at 74.5. So I was $500 off. But this thing I made when Bitcoin was like over here somewhere, okay, at 103. So that's why I was like, hey guys, this is looking like distribution. If Bitcoin loses 103, get ready for it to get to the downside. The first stop was 73. The next actual major stop is around 58. And then lower than that is 40. Those are Fibonacci targets. Are they going to come? We're going to find out, okay? Only time will tell. Uh, Another confirmation of the rejection was when we came and retested the ascending channel and we rejected. This was for those traders who are um, pattern, and you know, if you knew what was going on, congratulations, and you got that trade here. If you missed the top, here's this rounding top. I'm gonna delete all this stuff because it's not necessary anymore. Okay, last level of support before downside confirmation, which is this level over here, 90,000. Target 96,000, 85, 76. Weekly close under 103 confirms possibility of downside. Okay, so I'm just repeating myself over and over. If any of this actually helps you, feel free to go watch the other videos so you can see what's going on and how I'm coming to these conclusions. So yes, now for the new doodle, what I'm going to be doing is this. I'm looking for some kind of accumulation, and you know what? It could be like this. Something like that. Because I've seen a similar, like it comes down, takes the liquidity quickly, and then finds support above the descending channel, and then breaks out back up into the levels of resistances. So something like this is a possibility. Keep that in mind. And then, yeah, that's basically what I have for you guys for Bitcoin. If you guys have any questions or concerns, feel free to leave me a comment in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you in the next video. Here is quick Ethereum. The Ethereum cross just occurred, and now we got that push. I would actually be patient for another week or two to see if we get that bottoming out, because as you can see, when EMAs cross, you have time because they expand and then they come back, right? I don't know how deep the expansion will be when they separate, but I have to give it another candle or two to see the consolidation. So it could be like this, it could be like a descending, it could go flat, all that good stuff. We have to be patient for this weekly close. Can this weekly close be a doji bottom? It could. Next week we can go up, but even if we go up next week, it could be a rejection and push down for another leg. Okay, so don't get too excited. Don't get married into your position. If you are trying to buy this stuff long term, dollar cost average, having the drop from the 50%, almost 50% blow off top is a buying opportunity on Bitcoin. I am not expecting 80% drop on Bitcoin. 40 to 50% is good enough for me. Ethereum is at 56% drop. Okay. Solana is another coin that I am doing stuff with. Solana, a 70, almost 70% drop. Okay. So the reason I'm making this video is yes, I am buying the dip. I actually put Solana in my IRA. There are tickers for Solana ETFs that you guys can do your own research on. And I put a few of those, I put two of them in my IRA over ETHE, and, which is Ethereum's ETF for Grayscale, and over GBDC, which is Bitcoin's ETF, or ticker for Bitcoin. And the reason, because I think Solana will have a bigger room to run in the bull run. I'm looking for Solana above maybe like 500-600 bucks. I'm looking for a 1-to-1 move. Okay, so if this is the low, if this is the high, this $300 asset, I'm looking for around $600 to $700 when we actually get the bull run. This could be a double bottom, and we could just make a W and come back up here, and then you'll just see expansion, a parabolic move up, kind of like this over here, like a double bottom, and then expansion. We can do that double bottom and an expansion. And what will be the cause will be some news article or some kind of like news drop that, hey, this company is accumulating this and they're putting it in their reserve and blah 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 blah. So all those companies who put crypto into their treasuries early are feeling the pain. If they are a profitable company and they could dollar cost average in, then great, they can buy and add into their treasury. If they are a company who is going to enter into that model of having crypto in their treasury, this would be the most advantageous time for them to put their money where their mouth is. One stock that I think is doing something like that is GME. The CEO himself spent like 40-50 million dollars and bought it around $20. This was his buy right here, around $20. As soon as he bought and completed his purchase of like $40 million in shares, he got that nice push up, already 20% up from when he originally entered his 40 million or whatever it was. So he's already up 30%, $5 a share. Okay, and he bought about like 40 million shares or something like that. It was crazy amount. So be aware that this thing is doing a very interesting consolidational move. And right now, your EMA over here is about to cross up. If this 21, which is 2284, gets above 2343, that will start an impulse push for this to continue up higher. I don't think this is going to stop until liquidity is tested above 28, and then possibly even 30. So once it's above 30, I think a lot more people will pile on to this trade. So just keep these all in the back of your mind. Dixie is still doing really nothing other than consolidating. Not the greatest thing. I'm looking for this to start pushing up. If that pushes up, are we gonna have an inverse relationship with Bitcoin and ETH and stuff, or is everything gonna move tandem, no more inverse, 1-to-1 together to the upside? Kind of similar like this. We're looking for something like that over there. So that's basically all I have for you guys. I hope everything was smooth and informational. If you guys have any questions or concerns, let me know. In the next video, I'm going to have another camera set up so you guys will be able to see me. I just got my new MacBook, so I will get all that set up today or this week, and next week hopefully we'll be able to watch my comedic facial expressions while I go over the chart with you. Hope you guys have a great week. Trade safe. Talk to you soon. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the channel. Press the thumbs up button. Share the video with like-minded individuals. I greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.